to say to a worker in Vermont or California or any place else that if you're making, $52,000 a year, you are too rich to get this help, the full benefit, I think that that's absurd.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Here's the latest on the new stimulus package, the third or $1,400 stimulus check. Let's get into it. But first, guys, as always, before we get started, do me a favor, thumbs up this video so you can help more people to watch it, and also subscribe so you don't miss any of our next videos. Thanks. Today's updates are coming directly from some of the lawmakers making the Sunday morning media rounds this morning. First, the chairman of the Budget Committee, Bernie Sanders. Second, the Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen. Let's see what they had to say this morning.
When it comes to the COVID relief checks, President Biden said Friday he's open to lowering the threshold of who qualifies for the checks. One idea being floated in the Senate, included by some Democrats, is to phase out checks for individuals making more than $50,000 a year. You called that proposal unbelievable and said, quote, in other words, working class people who got checks from Trump would not get them from Biden. Brilliant. Obviously, you're being sarcastic there. It's clear you don't support it. You heard Janet Yellen earlier in the show. She said, obviously, she thinks that somebody who makes $60,000 a year should be getting these relief checks, but she wasn't willing to commit to $75,000. Where do you think the cutoff should be?
Well, I think what we have done in the past and what we have promised the American people, we've said two things in the last month. We said we're going to get you $2,000, and that's $600 plus $1,400. And what we're going to do is say that everybody, a single person, individual, $75,000 or lower, and a couple of $150,000 or lower will be eligible for that full $2,000, $600 plus $1,400. Now, when people said we don't want rich people to get that benefit, I understand that. I agree. And what we need to do is have a strong cliff so it doesn't kind of spill over to people making $300,000. And that's what I support, and that's what I think most people understand. But to say to a worker in Vermont or California or any place else that if you're making $52,000 a year, you are too rich to get this help, the full benefit, I think that that's absurd. And it's also, from a political point of view, a little bit absurd that you would have under Trump these folks getting the benefit, but under Biden, who is fighting hard for the working class of this country, they would not get that full benefit. So I think from a policy point of view, we've got to do the right thing, and that's $75,000 and $150,000 for a couple. From a political point of view, it is absurd to be telling working class people, somebody has a decent union job, they're making $55,000, $60,000, sorry, you're not eligible for the program. Makes no sense to me at all, nor do I think it makes sense to the American people.
And guys, Bernie is absolutely right. So now you're telling me some of the people who received the first and the second stimulus check are now not eligible to receive the third stimulus check? Just to quote him, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is absurd. So this is where the negotiation stands as of today. Let's see what the administration have to say this week about the income qualifications. And in my opinion, I think the income qualifications will still be at 75 for any single filer and 150 for married couple filing jointly. Let me tell you why. Remember, they only have 50 votes in the Senate. As it stands right now, Bernie is not going to vote for it. And I'm pretty sure they will lose a lot more support if they decide to go down to $50,000. This will make no sense at all. Let's go to the Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen.
President Biden and Democrats are pushing forward with this $1.9 trillion relief package. But as you know, one of your predecessors from the Clinton and Obama administration, Larry Summers, suggested that it's just too big. It would flood the economy with too much money, and that could lead to rising inflation. Quote, whereas the Obama stimulus was about half as large as the output shortfall, the proposed Biden stimulus is 3 times as large as the projected shortfall. Why is Summers wrong? Why are you confident this will not cause rising inflation?
Well, first, Jake, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you. I think the risks here, as Treasury Secretary, I have to worry about all of the risks to the economy. And the most important risk is that we leave workers and communities scarred by the pandemic and the economic toll that it's taken, that we don't do enough to address the pandemic and the public health issues, that we don't get our kids back to school. We have 10 million Americans who are unemployed, another 4 million who have dropped out of the labor force, particularly women who have childcare responsibilities. We need to reopen our schools, make sure that children aren't falling behind, provide help. We already have way too many small businesses that are closing. We need to provide help to get them to the other side. And we've already seen 1.3 million state and local government workers, first responders, policemen, firemen, who have lost their jobs. And we need to get them back on the payroll. People are on the verge of losing the roofs over their heads. The package provides rental assistance. We have 24 million adults and 12 million children that are going hungry every day, and we need to provide them with food. We have people suffering, particularly low-wage workers and minorities, and through absolutely no fault of their own, we have to get them to the other side and make sure this doesn't take a permanent toll on their lives. So we need a package that's big enough to address this full range of needs. And I believe that the American Rescue Plan is up to the job. My predecessor, has indicated that there's a chance that this will cause inflation to rise. And that's also a risk that we have to consider. I've spent many years studying inflation and worrying about inflation, and I can tell you we have the tools to deal with that risk if it materializes. But we face a huge economic challenge here and tremendous suffering in the country. We've got to address that. That's the biggest risk.
It's also important to note that we don't have any official statement from the White House stating that they are willing to go down on the income qualifications to $50,000. All they said was they would like the stimulus checks to be more targeted. These are just reports coming out from the White House. And one other piece that's not likely to make it to the next stimulus bill is the $15 an hour minimum wage. The president have already indicated, since they are planning on passing this bill with the simple majority using the budget reconciliation process, the $15 minimum wage, due to Senate rules, is not likely to survive. So this is where we at. Let's see what happened this week. If anything else comes up, guys, I'll bring it to you as quickly as I can. Thank you again for watching. If this is your first time here, my name is Paul with Sunset Royalty, and if you made it this far, please subscribe so you don't miss any of our next videos. I will see you in the next one. Thanks.